So, guys, we are in the penultimate week of the UEFA Europa League for Manchester United on Thursday night, where Manchester United face the old enemy at Old Trafford. It is an 8 o'clock home evening kickoff on the penultimate round of the UEFA Europa League fixtures. Manchester United sit comfortably so far in the automatic qualifications for the knockout rounds for the next stage of the UEFA Europa League, where a win against Rangers in the penultimate week of games would give Manchester United a big advantage going into the knockout rounds, where Manchester United, with automatic qualification for the next stage of the Europa League, would avoid a two-legged possibility against one of the mid-table Europa League clubs with a win at Old Trafford on Thursday night. After what we witnessed on Sunday and after the result we suffered, Manchester United now have to go all out for the Europa League. I think now where Manchester United are realistically and where we are as a football club, I think all of us fans and all of our supporters know that the Premier League season is basically over. We are only 7 points now above the current bottom three in the Premier League as it currently stands, with results going against us. And obviously Manchester United failing to win yesterday afternoon at Old Trafford against Brighton with a 3-1 home defeat. So I can't see Manchester United turning their league campaign around. I think the Premier League season is basically over. For me, if I had the option, I would end the Premier League season now if that was a possibility, because I know deep down Manchester United aren't going to be able to turn it around. I think the damage is already done. The results are there in the face of the enemy. And I think the way things are looking on and off the pitch, it's not looking great, if I'm being really honest with you. It's looking very doom and gloom from Old Trafford. Again, there's a very dark clouds are raining in over Old Trafford, the way things are on and off the pitch for Manchester United at this current moment in time. It's a bit of a mess. It's a bit of a nightmare, but it's our own fault that we find ourselves again in a situation where the Premier League was meant to be the season where we were going to challenge a league campaign that has fell flat on its ass, and Manchester United now are on the verge of going a whole season next season without European football, which would be a major disaster for this football club. And I think for me, again, as I stated a few weeks ago, once Erik ten Hag was sacked, when he was dismissed by Manchester United, the season was basically over. We basically ripped the season off. We knew there was no coming back from where we are currently. And Manchester United knew it was going to be an impossible job for Ruben Amorim to turn these players around with the squad he's got available to him at the moment. And without efficient backing and without a proper January transfer window, which was sat in the fourth week of this year in 2025, and Manchester United have done absolutely fuck all in terms of players coming in and players going out. Manchester United are facing a job against the wall, really. We are facing the ultimate demise of a season that no one really predicted. We're facing a season where Manchester United, honestly, have been a joke. And again, like I said a few weeks ago, without the Premier League now as a main obstacle, Manchester United really can put that season to one side. And for me, we have to go all out for the Europa League and we have to go all out for the FA Cup, because without European football next season, it's really going to affect Ruben Amorim again. And without a major European competition, Manchester United being it, it's then going to affect the summer transfer window again, like it did last year in 2024, where we've got certain United fan channels waxing lyrical on how great a summer transfer window that was for Manchester United last year. If I'm going to be really honest, and I'm going to be very open about this, that transfer window in the summer of 2024 was not great. Manchester United haven't fixed all the problems Erik ten Hag faced, as well as Ruben Amorim is facing the reality of the problems that were there now are still been there once Ten Hag was dismissed. Those problems have been fixed. Players haven't been brought in. Players haven't been sold. the Premier League was meant to be the season that Manchester United started competing for the title. The problem is now, with Manchester United in their lowest league position since 1983, they're on their worst home record from their last 12 Premier League games since 1989-1990. Manchester United are breaking all the wrong records. Manchester United are making things a lot worse for the fans. They're making the situation with the supporters a lot more difficult to cope with. And they're making us look like really, really incompetent twats, to be honest, if I'm going to be really brutal about it. Manchester United are making a mockery of the fans. They're making a mockery of these supporters, and we are the ones that face the consequences of our rivals. And again, with the Europa League on Thursday night, if we can win it this season, which I still think is going to be very, very tough for Manchester United to come out and win the Europa League, then I don't know where this season's going to be able to be turned around, because Manchester United need to be in the Champions League next season. Manchester United need to be dining at Europe's top table. And with the Premier League season basically over, Manchester United, all we've got left is the Europa League. That's all we've got left. We haven't got anything else to be able to go for if the Europa League campaign fails. And if we don't win Thursday against Rangers, then Manchester United have got the possibility of a two-legged tie against one of the mid-table opposition in the Europa League to be able to get round into the automatic qualification. That really, really terrifies me, to be honest with you, because that's going to pile more game time and more minutes for players that really have given up, have waved the white flag, have basically turned their back on Ruben Amorim again. And especially after yesterday, heading into Thursday, I think Ruben Amorim needs to sit down with these players and read the riot act, because I think enough is enough now of all this messing around. I think enough is enough of these players taking the piss. And I think enough of the excuses, enough of the PR, enough of the spin, and enough of the bullshit. Because I told you yesterday, I don't trust these players. I'm sorry to say I don't trust them. These players do not change their spots. Leopards do not change these spots. And unfortunately, a lot of blame has been put on the managers of this football club, where the biggest problem at this football club is the players, Glazers, and Ineos. They are the three biggest problems this football club has got at this current moment in time. They are the three biggest issues, not the manager, not Ruben Amorim, the players, the Glazers, and Ineos. They are the three biggest problems that Ruben Amorim is having to deal with on and off the pitch as Manchester United's manager. Because the squad, what went against Brighton yesterday, for me, is good enough to win the Europa League. I think we've got the better team. I think we've got the better squad. And I think we've got the players and the experience of past failures to take that as a positive to try and go all the way to get to that Europa League final. We win the Europa League and we get back into the Champions League. But after yesterday, after that dismal performance against Brighton, can these players turn it around? Can these players turn it around after yesterday? I think that's the big question I've got from Manchester United. Can these players apologise? Can these players say sorry? Can these players put some kind of performance or some kind of effort into beating Rangers? Because so far, you look at our Europa League campaign, it's not exactly been great. We've not exactly lit up a Christmas tree. We've not exactly burst into a firework display. Manchester United's Europa League campaign has been up and down, up and down. That is how our Europa League campaign has been so far. Manchester United have come away with some unlikely results, some very last-minute victories, and we've had to scrape the barrel against teams in Europe who Manchester United realistically should be beating on paper. But Manchester United have always got themselves into a situation where they make it look a lot more difficult than what it needs to be. So these players have got to earn the trust back. These players have got to earn their love and the respect back off the fans and the supporters of us people. Because that yesterday, that went out the window for me. The trust is no longer there from me. I don't trust these players because I don't trust them to put performances in. I don't trust them to put in the effort I want them to put in. And I don't trust their levels of inconsistency because a lot of these players that have featured under so many managers have been kept by this football club. A lot of those players played against Brighton yesterday. For me, I don't want half that squad playing on Thursday night because some of those players really do not care. Some of those players should not even be in a Manchester United shirt. Some of those players, Manchester United should have went nowhere near. And Man United fell for temptation and still went for them. And look at the situation we are in now. Look at the depleted squad we've now got. Because with the news today, Anthony has gone on loan till Real Betis till the end of the season, which means there's not an obligation to buy. There's not an option to buy. Manchester United, yet again, have loaned out a player that Manchester United are going to end up bringing back at the end of the season, and they're going to make him look like a brand new signing. I'm sorry to say, Manchester United sending Anthony on loan looks very, very pathetic. Manchester United sending him on loan looks incredibly desperate. Ruben Amorim deep down knows he needs players. You could tell that by his body language. You could tell by his facial expressions because look at the amount of games we're having to play. We're having to still play in the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the Europa League. We've got Thursday, Sunday football for the rest of the season now, unless the Europa League goes dramatically wrong, which I hope it doesn't, because it's the only way back into the Champions League for next season, because we're not getting top 4. We're not going to get top 6. We'll be lucky if Man United scrape top 10, if I'm being really honest with you, because I can't see Manchester United turning this mess around, because my trust for these players has gone out the window, because these players don't learn. These players don't care. These players don't give a shit. These players don't give a fuck. And the problem is with this football club, those trusting those players have built up their egos, has built up their big heads. And a lot of those players need to have a hard-line look in the mirror and realise and say to themselves, we know we're not good enough. We know we're not performing. We know we're not getting results. But when you've got a manager like Ruben Amorim who is absolutely trying his best with what he's got at his disposal, how is he meant to get anywhere when we have spent 600 million on the last 2 transfer windows under Eric Ten Hag on a load of crap that Manchester United should have never brought in the first place? Ruben Amorim is facing the same consequences as every other manager before him, because every manager's shit has been left by this football club with every new manager to deal with. Anthony's gone on loan to Betis, right? Anthony has gone on loan today. That we got the here we go from Romano. So that gives us a big, big problem in terms of squad depth for Thursday, as well as options going forward for the rest of the season. Because with the Rashford rumours not going away, that a potential move is still possible. But now we're getting the rumours of he's not giving up on playing for Manchester United. My argument with Rashford is Rashford should have been sold years ago. Rashford clearly doesn't want to play for this football club anymore. Clearly is not in the manager's ideas. And clearly Manchester United need to get rid. And now we've got the rumours of Rashford has still not given up on being a Manchester United player for the future. I'm sorry to say, I'm really sorry to say, if Manchester United bring Rashford back into the fold and Ruben Amorim is forced to bring him back into the team, I am not going to stand by Ineos. And I certainly do not stand by the Glazers. If they are forcing Ruben Amorim to bring Rashford back in the team because Anthony has been sent on loan to Betis, that for me speaks volumes about this football club. Because Anthony, we should have never brought. 100 million on Anthony should have never been purchased. That was a big mistake. In my view and in my opinion, I thought Anthony was the problem solver on that right wing, because that right wing was a big, big problem for Manchester United. We've got to be honest about it. We've not really had that consistent right winger before Anthony arrived. Anthony burst onto the scene and got a debut goal against Arsenal at Old Trafford, and we thought that problem on the right wing's been solved. That problem on the right wing has now become a problem again, because now he's been sent on loan. The only option we've got ahead of us on Thursday on that right wing is Ahmad. Ahmad is the only decent option we have got going forward on that right wing for the rest of the remaining season, because Manchester United have idiotically sent Anthony on loan, where Manchester United should have taken a big financial hit on money they could have got for Anthony, instead of sending him on loan and then bringing him back, making him part of the rebuild again. Man United should have sold Anthony at a loss, and we have sent him on loan to Betis. And you've got to hope that Betis move turns into a permanent one. You've got to hope Anthony works miracles in a Real Betis shirt, and that move works out for him. And I wish Anthony all the best. It did not work out at Manchester United. We overpaid, we overspent, and Manchester United have to take the financial hit on that player. But we are still paying half that player's wages. That again is on Manchester United for not buying a player that should have never been brought in the first place. And Manchester United really should have found a club for him to go to on a permanent basis. And Manchester United have got desperate and have sent him on loan. The problem I've got with, we are going to end up having to use Ahmad on Thursday, because he's the best option we've got on that right wing now. If you think about it, he's the only option we've got, because we've got no other right winger at this football club. Because Rashford's out the team. Rashford doesn't want to be part of the squad. Ruben Amorim no longer wants the player, which I don't blame him. I think the Rashford situation has been held very, very professionally by Ruben Amorim, saying he is not going to pick a player who's not part of his plans. He's not going to pick a player that he doesn't want in his team. And he's not going to pick a player that Manchester United are clearly trying to get rid of. And I don't blame Ruben Amorim. I think he's handled the situation very, very well. It's just all the questions about Rashford this, Rashford that, Rashford this, Rashford that. If Manchester United find a buyer for Rashford, I don't want Rashford going on loan, because he's going to be in the same boat as Anthony. He's going to come back, and Manchester United are going to make up like he's a brand new signing and a brand new part and a brand new future for this football club, with Marcus Rashford's name in Manchester United's folklore. Rashford needs to be got rid of on a permanent basis. No loan deal, no option to buy. Manchester United need to sell Rashford and sell him permanently. I don't want a loan move. I don't want a loan move with an option to buy. I don't want a loan move with an obligation. I want Manchester United to sell Rashford at a loss. You're not going to get 40. You're not going to get 45 million, and you're certainly not getting 50. Manchester United need to realise we're in a completely different market now. Take 20 to 25 million and get him out this football club, because it's pure profit, because Marcus Rashford came through the academy product. It's pure profit if you sell Rashford. It removes that problem. It removes that player that is causing issues on and off the pitch. You're removing a player that Ruben Amorim is desperately trying to seek reassurances about. You're removing a player who's on £375,000 a week. You need to get rid of him and take a loss. If you can get 20-25 million, I would bite any other club's hand off to get that money, because it's pure profit. So I don't understand why Manchester United won't send him on a permanent transfer. Why are we so desperate to send him on loan? It's because of the wages he is on. No one will pay Rashford's wage. No one will pay the astronomical wage that he's on at Manchester United. And I don't want him in the squad against Rangers Thursday. I don't want him anywhere near this team. I think for me he's a bit of a snake. He's burnt his bridges, he's done the damage, and the reality is his future at Manchester United should no longer be in question. His future at Manchester United should be away from this football club on a permanent basis. I don't want him part of the squad. I don't want him part of the plans Thursday because he doesn't want to be here. Ruben Amorim has made it quite clear that he's not part of the plans. We need to move him on now. It's about time this football club did it and bit the hook. The football club really need to start obeying and giving the manager what he wants. If he wants Rashford sold, the football club should be listening and sanctioning it. I don't care about all the sympathy. I don't give a shit about sentimental FC. Rashford needs to be removed. Rashford needs to be sold. And if you're not going to sell him, put him in the reserves or leave him on the bench and let him rot. You can't keep sending players on loan because that just comes as pure desperation. And I'm not saying Rashford would not be a good option for Thursday because without a backup to the right wing, a lot of game time and a lot of minutes is now going to come Ahmad's way. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But God forbid if Ahmad gets injured or he does his ankle or he does his knee, then we're going to be stuck because we've then got no backup right winger. We haven't got any backup right winger in case Ahmad gets a bad injury or he needs a rest or he doesn't get minutes. And we haven't got that option because Anthony's gone. He's officially gone today and good riddance in my view. If you get rid of Rashford, then you are facing a big problem because we've only got Ahmad on the wing. And he's our only creative option really going forward at the moment. There's a lot of resilience and a lot of pressure on Ahmad's shoulders now because with Anthony gone and Rashford hopefully getting closer and closer to the exit door, which I hope does happen and Manchester United don't end up keeping the player because that's not what I want. I want Man United to move Rashford on ASAP. And if we don't do it, that's going to look completely immature. It's going to make us look completely childish, in my view. And I think for me, sooner rather than later, Rashford goes, the better for the football club's future. But again, I come back to it and I would say the minutes and the pressure Ahmad's now going to have to receive is going to be immense. And you're going to have to hope Ruben Amorim can keep him match fit. You're going to have to hope Ruben Amorim can keep him under control. You're going to have to hope Ruben Amorim gives that lad an opportunity because Ahmad is deserving at the moment based on his form and based on his confidence and based on the creative attacking option that he brings to Manchester United going forward. But if you remove Anthony, which you've done, which was the right thing to do, and you move Rashford out as well, which I think is also the right thing to do, then who are you left with on the left wing? Who are you left with? Because we've got no right wing option and now we've got no left wing option. And without Rashford and without Anthony, Man United have created themselves a big hole. They've created themselves a big problem because without the options now and without players coming in, Man United's squad's going to get depleted because they haven't got the options there as backups to protect certain players if they do get injured. And I'm not saying Anthony's going to be a big miss. I think we should have moved him on sooner rather than later. Rashford should have been moved on under Ten Hag, under Mourinho. We should have really listened to the realisation that Rashford needed to go, and we didn't do it. And now look at the situation we're now in. And I'm not saying both those players are going to be a big miss. I don't think neither of them would have played on Thursday, in my view. I don't think Rashford would have been in the squad against Rangers. And I would have fully expected Anthony to be on the bench at least on Thursday night as well. I don't think both players will be a big miss. But you've got to bring replacements in. Manchester United can't just sit there and why? What do we do? Well, the most obvious thing to do to give that squad a bit more of an attacking threat, you need to bring a striker in and you need to bring a winger in because Ahmad's the only option you've got left, Ruben. And Ruben Amorim probably realises that himself, thinking, shit, Anthony's gone. Rashford's not in my plans. And again, today, the Napoli interest in Garnacho isn't going away. Napoli are going full guns blazing for Garnacho. Napoli are desperate. Napoli really, really want Garnacho. And again, I would be sad and I would be extremely devastated if Garnacho goes out the door. I don't want Garnacho going. I don't want Garnacho leaving this football club because it reminds me of the Ronaldo situation all over again. If we sell Garnacho before Thursday and we get a deal agreed with Napoli, with Antonio Conte extremely putting pressure on Napoli to bring Garnacho in, if we do a deal before Thursday, that's Garnacho out the squad as well. So that's no Rashford, no Antony, and no Garnacho. I don't want Garnacho to go. I hope Man United don't sell him cheap. I think Man United have got the right to be asking for 100 million. I want at least 70 million with 30 million in add-ons, and then I would talk. But logically, I thought we were meant to be building for the future with players like Garnacho's development and quality and skill for the future. I thought that's what we were planning to do. And if we do get a deal agreed with Napoli, you've got to wonder, if we do get the big money we're wanting and we're asking for, and that United do sanction the sale, Man United can't say that money's got to go back into the club. I'm sorry, no. You're telling me that money's got to go into the club. No, that money has got to be reimbursed into the first team. That money has got to be put on signings. That money you've got there for Garnacho, you've got to bring somebody in. You can't just sit there and like, oh, we'll sell Garnacho and that will ease the PSR bullshit. No, you've got to bring a replacement in, because if you get big money, which I hope we do, you can't just sit there saying we're not spending it. Because without Garnacho's quality and without his talent and his skill, he's going to go and smash it in Serie A. He will smash it at Napoli. And then in 5 years' time, they'll sell him for big money again. And he'll end up at Real Madrid. And I think that's what Napoli's plan is. They signed Garnacho for really cheap because Napoli know Man United have become a selling club. And then in 5 years' time, they'll end up selling him to Real Madrid and they'll end up getting 100 to 150 bloody million for him. And then Napoli will be able to rebuild and probably become Serie A's greatest team. Because look at, they've got Conte, they've got Lukaku, they've got McTominay. I mean, look at the job Conte's doing at Napoli. Look at the job he's doing. And it's no wonder he now wants Garnacho in that team. And then you've got Agent McTominay, who's probably going to be on that phone banging to Garnacho saying, come to Napoli, come to Napoli. It's really great here. You'll be part of the first team. You'll be in that team and we can create history for the Naples fans. Like, that's the big problem. You've got Agent McTominay probably on the phone to Garnacho, pleading to him to come to Napoli. And if we do get a deal agreed, and now Chelsea have put their interest in, if Garnacho's not in the team Thursday, which would be extremely interesting, because without Garnacho, we are then basically screwed, because the options going forward are extremely limited anyway. And people will say, well, you've got Xerxes, you've got Højlund, you've got Ahmad. What are you moaning at? What I'm moaning at is, if you sell Garnacho, you've got to bring a replacement in. If you've sent Rashford on loan, you've got to bring a replacement in. If you sent Antony, which they've done today to Betis till the end of this current season, they've got to bring a replacement in. Manchester United can't just sit and say, no, we're not bringing players in. They've got to. Because without those three, on Thursday, you're going to look at that squad and you're going to look at the options in the first team. And then you're going to look back at the bench and you think to yourself, oh my God, we're in big trouble of absolutely crumbling away. Because one of Rasmus or Xerxes is going to end up starting for the rest of the season because now Garnacho's gone. And that terrifies me, because quite clearly, I don't want Xerxes or Rasmus starting Thursday, because how many games have they gone now without scoring a goal each? How many times have those two not contributed in the last few results for Manchester United? Both Xerxes and Højlund have been completely non-existent to Manchester United in their last few matches. And the resilience is then going to be on them. The pressure is going to be on the depth of their shoulders, because Garnacho's gone, Rashford's gone, Anthony's gone. What have Manchester United got left? Where's the squad depth? You've got to question, where's the squad depth if all three of them go? Man United are going to find themselves here in big, big trouble because we haven't got the options going forward to compete for the rest of the season. We don't. I'm just being honest. We actually don't. And people think we're going to be okay. I don't think we will be. I think Manchester United are facing an uphill task here. If they let Garnacho go, they've got to bring somebody in. It's the same for Rashford, and really it's the same as Anthony. United can't just sit there and not be active in the transfer window now. And if the rumours are true that we're looking at Patrick Dorgu, the Lecce left back, he's another Serie A player. Look what's happened to Xerxes. Look what's happened to Højlund. We're going for a Serie A player again. We're going back to Serie A to bring in a left back, Patrick Dorgu. I mean, does it excite me? No. Does it get me off my seat? No. Is it the left back I want? No. Is it the experience that we need at this time? No. But is it a better option than having Luke Shaw and Malacia? Because we've got no left back? Yeah. It is the better option. But is it what Ruben Amorim wants? No. Ruben Amorim doesn't want Patrick Dorgu. He doesn't want to bring him to the football club. He wants Nuno Mendes from PSG. And Man United is saying, no, we ain't got the money. We're bankrupt. We've spent. We ain't got no money to put into the club. Well, Ineos shouldn't have invested in the first place then if there's no money. I'm sorry to say they should have never come anywhere near. You're telling me you're denying your manager his first choice left back because you're penny pinching again. That, for me, is nothing more than a complete disgrace. I don't want Patrick Dorgu at Manchester United. I'm not going to give him a chance. I'm not going to back the signing. I'm not going to back a player that the manager does not want. Clearly, it's PR. Clearly, it is spin. Manchester United knew that was a bad result yesterday. Let's put something out on socials to excite the fan base and to get us the likes and the clicks and the bait that we want. Bringing a young player like Patrick Dorgu into this team, yes, it might benefit because he's a left back and he can play both on the right and he can play on the left. But you're telling me he's going to be the solution to Anthony because he can play on the right wing and he can play at left back. No, it's got to be one or the other. You can't expect a player like Patrick Dorgu at his age to do both roles at the same time. It's got to be one or the other. The left back problem is the main priority that should be in that team because we don't have a left back. I'm not using Shaw and I'm not using Malacia. Luke Shaw's career at United is done. Malacia is in the same boat as him. We are trying to shift Malacia so we can bring this left back in. For me, if you could shift Malacia now permanently and Shaw, you could go and get Nuno Mendes and tell Patrick Dorgu to do one. Because for me, people say, well, he's got the age on his side. We need the player in now, really. It would improve the left back a lot. I'm sorry to say, I am not going to get excited when we have to do announcements when we get the here we go, because we are in talks with Lecce. We are in talks with them to bring him to the club, but they want 40 million. So if we've got no money, how are we bringing him in? For me, it's pure spin. It's bullshit to get the fans back on side after yesterday's defeat. And maybe they do bring him in and he's a success. But logically, we need him in now. We need him in now. United should have got this deal done today. And we're too slow. Because we need that left back for Thursday. Because what's going to end up happening again, we're going to end up seeing Diego Dalot at left wing back again, which absolutely terrifies me. And I think Ruben Amorim is no scapegoat. I don't think Ruben Amorim is afraid of criticism. I don't think he should be in line of not taking our views and opinions on board. But surely he must know. Using Diego Dalot left wing back doesn't work. Surely somewhere in Ruben Amorim's head, he must realise I'm basically up a creek here without a paddle. I'm up the creek. I'm going up the river in a boat and I've got no paddle. And I'm basically just floating on water. What I mean by that is he must realise I'm stuck with Diego Dalot at left wing back. This club, you're telling me, had a problem with left back last summer. They had a problem at left back in January in 2024. We didn't sign one last summer. They didn't sign one in January. And now we're in January now. I needed a left back. And I've come into this football club and we've got 2 injury-prone left backs that neither are now good enough. Luke Shaw was never good enough, nor was Malacia. Someone clearly did not look into Malacia's injury record when we brought him in. And Ruben Amorim was probably sat there tonight thinking, I'm stuck with Dalot here. You've got to give me a left back. You've got to bring me players in. I can't just keep saying no and using financial fair play and sell to buy as an excuse. Because we could do with that left back on Thursday. We could do with a Nuno Mendes there. We could do with a Patrick Dorgu. But I don't want Patrick Dorgu anywhere near this football club. Because it speaks volumes of this is pure desperation. It's pure desperation from this football club. Because the options aren't good enough in that team anyway. And Man United really, after the last few results, especially leading up to January this year in 2025, should have realised, look, we need to shift Onana. We need to shift Bandia. We need to shift Tom Heaton. We need to get rid of Lowe. We need to get rid of Maguire. We need to get rid of Evans. We need to get rid of Lindelof. We need to get rid of Shaw. We need to get rid of Malacia. We need to get rid of Dalot. We've got to get rid of Casemiro. We've got to get rid of Eriksen. Højlund, Xerxes, Rashford, Anthony, Toby Collier, Mason Mount. That is 18 players that Manchester United should have sold this month. And we have done fuck all. And I'm not saying all 18 of them are going to go. But logically, you would have thought the options we've got on Thursday are depleted because no Mount, no Lindelof, no Shaw, Rashford won't be there, Anthony won't be there. So that's 5. And if we get a deal done with Chelsea or Napoli for Garnacho, that is 6. So that's 6 players that Manchester United will no longer have because 3 of them are injured, 3 of them have gone. So you're basically depleting Ruben Amorim's any chance of winning trophies because you're getting rid of players and you're doing fuck all to bring any in because you're coming up with your excuses again. We have to win the Europa League to get into the Champions League next season. This is our only way into it because winning the FA Cup, and if we don't win the Europa League and we win the FA Cup again, yes, it might be 3 trophies in a row, 3 seasons in a row, and people might take that as a big, big positive. But we're not going to be in the Champions League. We're going to be back in this situation again next season playing Thursday night football in the Europa League again. Does anybody really want that? Because I don't want that. I don't want to be playing Thursday night football again. It's embarrassing being in this. I don't want to be in the Europa League. It's really, really embarrassing for the fans having to play Thursday night football because of Manchester United's failures to operate as a good football club on and off the pitch. So we're stuck in a transition where you're depleting Amorim's squad, you're selling players and doing fuck all to bring any in. You want us to win the Europa League and the FA Cup, but you've taken half the squad and ripped it apart. You've sold 3 players, 2 on loan and 1 permanent, and you've brought no one in. And Ruben Amorim has demanded a left back and a striker. Where are they? Because we're on the 20th of January. We play Rangers on the 23rd of January on Thursday evening. We need these players in tonight. We need these players in now. If they've got to sell Garnacho, they're going to have to bite the bullet and do it. But you've got to replace him. You can't just bring that money in and not replace him. You've got to do something in the transfer window. You can't just sit there because where's the attacking threat coming from on Thursday? Let's talk about this. Where's the attacking threat coming from on Thursday? Where's the attacking threat? Because the only hope we've got is Ahmad. Apart from the rest of them, there ain't no attacking threat. We've got 2 strikers who came from Serie A who can't put the ball in the net. And we're bringing a left back in from Serie A. And look what happened to Rasmus and Xerxes. For me, that is a recipe heading towards disaster. again. We are targeting Serie A players, and we're trying to get Patrick Dorgu in on the cheap. And like someone said on Twitter, people think Mark Goldbridge thinks he can get Patrick Dorgu for 10 million. I mean, I would love to know what Mark must be smoking or eating or drinking. But for me, if he's coming out saying Manchester United can get Patrick Dorgu for 10 million, you must be having an absolute laugh, because you're not going to get it for 10 million. That's insulting. If you really think Man United are going to get Patrick Dorgu in from Lecce, you must be having an absolute laugh. They're not going to sell him for 10 million. So I don't know where Mark Goldbridge is getting his opinions and views from if he thinks he's going to get a player in for 10 million. It's not going to happen. Man United will end up having to give in. Manchester United will end up having to give Lecce what they want for Patrick Dorgu just to get the left back they want. That's the same situation we've been in from half these players, where we've just taken the piss with stupid offers and low bids. And Man United don't give the selling club what they want. For me, it's ridiculous. We need to be getting our business done quickly and efficiently, and we're not doing it. And we're sat here twiddling our thumbs, sat on Football Manager, probably eating a big fat ass bag of Doritos crisps. And you've got to question, what are Manchester United doing? They're not doing anything. It kind of damages our hopes for Thursday, because a win against Rangers, it gives Manchester United a big advantage heading into the game next Thursday, even against FCSB. Because if we win these next two games, Man United are through to the knockouts. But you're depleting Ruben Amorim's options. You're depleting our squad. You're selling players and not bringing in replacements. That isn't good enough. You've got 18 players I've mentioned a minute ago you could get rid of, and you've kept half of this lot. And Ruben Amorim is facing a backs against the wall to win trophies because you're not backing the manager. You're not bringing them in players. You're not getting rid of anybody. And Ruben Amorim is trying to rebuild this club. But when he's not being backed as the manager, and he's not being given money, and he's not being given signings, how is he meant to win the Europa League? How is he meant to win us the FA Cup? Because they're the only trophies we've got left we can win. Because we're not winning the Premier League. We're not getting top 4. We're not going to get top 10. We're 7 points above the bottom 3. We are out of the Carabao Cups. We ain't winning that. So the only options we've got is the Cups. And we should be going all out to win both now, because that is where the priority needs to be. Is we win the FA Cup, we win the Europa League, and we probably paper over the cracks again, making it look like we've actually had a good season, even though deep down we haven't. This season's been shit. And Rangers will know that vulnerability. Rangers will smell blood at Old Trafford, because they know everything at Manchester United is not sunshine and roses. Rangers used to be a very good football club. Rangers used to be a formidable force in Europe and in the Scottish Premiership. But as soon as Steven Gerrard left and Steven Gerrard fucked off to Villa, look what happened there. Rangers fell apart. They went through manager after manager after manager. And they've got this manager in now who's got the highest win percentage of any Rangers manager at home. But half their results aren't good enough because they can't compete with Celtic in the Scottish Premiership. You might as well call it the Celtic Scottish Premiership, because Celtic keep winning the Scottish Premiership every bloody season because no one can compete with their level. No one can compete with their quality. No one can compete with a manager like Brendan Rodgers. No disrespect. The Scottish Premiership is either Rangers or Celtic, but Rangers are falling behind teams like Aberdeen now because Aberdeen aren't afraid anymore. And the problem is with Rangers, they had such good consistency and quality and results under Gerrard. Soon as Villa came calling for Gerrard, Rangers fell apart. Rangers fell to pieces soon as Gerrard went, and look where Rangers are now. They're not winning any. They didn't win the Scottish Cup. They're not going to win the Scottish League Cup, and they're not going to win the Scottish Premiership. And they also aren't going to win a European trophy because they're not going to win the Europa League this season. They're not going to win a European competition. Rangers are going to be stuck in the same mess that they've been since last season. Their manager isn't good enough to lead Rangers forward, in my view. I don't watch the Scottish Premiership because it's a very boring league because it's dominated by bloody Celtic. Rangers don't get good results. But in Europe, they've been very up and down. They're like us. They've been in exactly the same type of situation Man United have been in this whole campaign of the Europa League. Their results have been so up and down that they can't find any consistency to try and get any good European result that gets them into the knockout rounds of the Europa League. Rangers might scrape through if they go through to a two-legged playoff, but the quality from a Rangers point of view, they deep down know they don't have the players. They deep down know they don't have the quality. They aren't going to be able to compete with the likes of the European teams who sit comfortably so far in the knockout places. And if we can qualify for the knockout rounds automatically, great. Man United avoid that two-legged playoff. But I'm not saying this is going to be a walkover on Thursday. Yeah, Rangers are the old enemy. They are a Scottish club. It's England versus Scotland. So it's going to be a tough game for Manchester United. It's not going to be as comprehensive of what I think fans think it's going to be. Because if you look at the result yesterday, Rangers are going to see that result and they think Man United can be there for the taking because everything off the pitch is affecting things on the pitch. And they've got players who want to go and they're trying to get rid of players because Man United are in this so-called big mess and Ruben Amorim can't do his job and can't do the task he's been brought in to do because the club are basically failing again another manager and the manager becomes the scapegoat. The manager gets the blame. It then becomes all his fault. And then we end up sacking another manager. I know where this is going to go. We are going to be in exactly the same situation in 2 to 3 years' time where Manchester United yet again are sacking another manager because a manager's not been backed, a manager hasn't been given signings, a manager hasn't been given players, and a manager who was promised I can clear out who I want hasn't been able to do that because Manchester United have kept players based on sentiment. And I don't think it's fair. If I'm picking a squad on Thursday, I wouldn't be picking Onana. I wouldn't be picking Maguire. I wouldn't be picking Delo. I wouldn't be picking Xerxes. I wouldn't be picking Højlund. But Man United have got no choice because our options are depleted. And I'm not using that as an excuse. But where's the quality options? We don't have them. Man United don't have quality. Man United don't have that. We don't have that goal scorer. We don't have that left winger now because two of them look like they're going. Anthony's gone today, and we're basically left with Ahmad as our only hope. I mean, I feel sorry for Ahmad in all this. He's probably thought, I've just signed this new contract. I'm going to get all this game time, which I deserve based on my former performances, which he does. But then he realises, oh shit, I'm the only winger left. Garnacho's gone, Rashford's gone, Anthony's gone. I'm the only one left here. Where's the option to help me out? Where's the option to back me up? Because if I get injured, or if I do my knee or my ankle, United ain't got a winger. So it's going to be an interesting tie at Old Trafford on Thursday, and I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park. I think Manchester United are going to face a very, very tough trip at Old Trafford. I think Rangers know. Man United are there for the taking, especially what happened yesterday against Brighton. The vulnerability will be there. The fear will be there. Rangers will smell blood. Man United have made their Europa League fixtures look a lot more tough than what they've needed to be. We should have walked the Europa League, but we've made this league phase a lot more uncomfortable than what it needed to be. That is on Manchester United, that is on Ineos, and that is on the Glazers for putting Ruben Amorim in this mess. And if Ruben Amorim ever has to go, I will blame Ineos. I will blame the Glazers. I ain't going to blame the manager. I won't blame Ruben Amorim if this goes wrong. The blame will have to be on the ownership and the people above him for putting him in this mess in the first place. And all I can say is, let's see what happens at Old Trafford come the full-time reaction on Thursday night. I'm going to go for a 2-3-0 Manchester United win. That's my score prediction. It's based on hope and based on optimism. But after what happened yesterday, I'm not so sure. So remember to hit the like button and the share button. Please keep subscribing to the channel, which is United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Share the video, hit the tweet button, hit a retweet button. Remember to always remember the notification bell. Put the bell on all times to receive dedicated content right throughout the rest of 2025 this year on this channel. We've got brand new videos, shorts, and brand new live streams that I want all of you amazing people to become part of on the channel's future. And remember to please join me for the full-time reaction from Old Trafford on Thursday night, which hopefully on the penultimate round of fixtures, Manchester United win on Thursday. We beat FCSB and Man United get through to the automatic qualifications for the knockout stage. But let's see what happens at Old Trafford on Thursday night. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. Stay safe. Be nice. Be kind. You're all legends. You're all legends. See you guys all on the next one.